Hey, what's your name? Hey, no, yeah, so what's your name? If you read the title, you already know what's up, so I'm gonna get straight into it today. These are my top 3 tips for speaking well, just making sure that people know what you're saying. The first is loud and clear. This one may sound obvious, but the reason why I mention it first is because if you're not speaking loudly enough and clearly enough, especially in a loud setting like a club or a bar or something like that, and someone else has to put in extra effort just to understand what you're saying, they probably won't, because you're just a stranger to them. So why would they put in all this effort? Like, what'd you say? What'd they say? To them, they're just not even gonna pay attention to you. So it's extremely important that before anything, you're loud and clear. So in terms of loud, you want to project your voice. You want to try to pretend like you're speaking through the person rather than just to them. Like imagine your voice goes a certain distance and normally you just try to make it reach them, but instead now you want to try to make it go through them, like just straight through, like 10 feet back. But make sure that if you're doing this, you're not just yelling or shouting, because then that just gets really weird. So make sure you're just projecting your voice, making it very loud, but without yelling. And for clear, make sure you enunciate. Make sure you're speaking clearly and not mumbling. Open your mouth when you talk, because if you're just talking like this and like nobody's gonna understand you. You know what I'm saying? All right. Number 2, less fillers. Filler words are things like like, stuff like that. The best way I can explain this is just picture when you're in class. This must have happened to you, it's happened to me a million times. Someone goes up to present and you watch and you honestly can't even follow what they're saying because it's so distracting that they're just like, and they almost say more than actually saying words in their presentation. And not only is this distracting, but it also just shows a lack of confidence. But yeah, don't be that guy who can't say a single sentence without using words like these. And last but not least, spice it up. Basically, don't be monotone, because that's extremely boring. Make sure that you change up the intonation and the pacing when you're speaking, because if you get too caught up in your head, you'll just end up speaking super monotone, super flat, and it won't sound very interesting. You need to make sure that you're kind of using inflection. You're at like a higher points, you're speaking like this, and then at lower points, you maybe speak a little quieter. And you just do things like this. It will make your conversation sound way more interesting, even if what you're talking about isn't interesting. And as funny as it sounds, you can practice this by talking to yourself. Like technically right now, I'm kind of talking to myself, and by doing this, I'm almost pretty much practicing. The only difference is I have a camera in front of me. But if you're just in the car or at home alone, feel free to talk to yourself and just practice it, because no one's gonna hear you and it's only gonna make you better at it. You can even read stuff online, just like pick out a passage or like a story or an article or anything and just read it, but read it as if you're like a storyteller, not just reading it out loud, but reading it out loud with inflection and pacing and all these other different techniques. So those are my top 3 vocal tips. Now, of course, there are a lot more things out there related to voice and speech and whatnot, but if you think of all of them, if you have 10 or 20 tips in your head next time you try to go out, you're just gonna freak yourself out and get in your head. So that's why I just wanted to keep it to the biggest 3, because if you keep these 3 in mind, you should be fine. Just speak loudly and clearly, use less filler words, and spice it up with a little bit of intonation and pacing. Now go out there, put this stuff into action, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.